What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good morning, everybody, and a happy Sacred Sunday to you. I'm your host of The Awakening World, Scott Thomas, also known as Love Coach Scott. Let's take a deep breath together. I see a lot of our favorite friends are already with us in the Zoom room. And there's Jeffrey Colebrook. He's who leads our dance parties. And Eleanor Joy is with us, and so many other friends coming from all over, all the way down to Ecuador with Jarena, all the way up to the Northwest with Eleanor Joy and our friends in British Columbia. And today's gonna be a very special day. I want to welcome those of you that are watching on Facebook. And a big thanks to John and Summer Raymer. They've been on the show live this weekend. They run the Sign Network. And through the Sign Network, we reach as many as 100 Facebook groups and pages. So welcome, everybody. And if you are watching on Facebook, I want to encourage you to go ahead and register for our shows. Here's what happens. If you go down and you register, you're now going to get the links to all of our shows for the rest of the year. That's right. If you register now, you're going to get links for all of our shows from now through December 31st. And we do 3 shows every weekend: Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday morning. And as you can see, these are examples of the shows we'll be doing this weekend. It's all about Peaceweek, and we're going to continue the Peaceweek theme. And lots of amazing guests. And these are all people that were with us live over the past couple of days. Today, we're going to be sharing some of our clips from some of our favorite luminaries. But we do have also with us live my brand new co-host, who's fantastic. You've been seeing her. This is Krista Collins, coming to us from the Midwest, bringing that Midwestern energy, those Midwestern values. And of course, we have our beautiful, beloved brother, Omashar.
Namaste.
This with some music. Hello, Omashar, coming from us, Colorado.
Happy Sacred Sunday.
It's another Sacred Sunday, and I'm in California. So it's just really cool to see people from all over. So welcome. So today what we're going to do is we are going to be primarily playing some clips of some of our favorite people that have been on the show before talking about peace. And some of these are clips that in fact, these are all clips you've never seen before, other than the first one I'm going to show. I just did an interview with Reverend Michael Beckwith last week that we're going to hear from, and brand new footage from the twin Ray. So it's going to be a wonderful show, and Krista and I are going to kind of share and talk and get your feedback. So we really want all of you to interact with this. It's going to be a very interactive show. So again, if you're watching on Facebook, come into the Zoom room where we can hear you. All right. Marianne Williamson is someone that I think probably we all know, we all love, we all respect. She was on the Saturday Night Alive show several times. She's been on the Awakening World. In fact, we're going to hear a little bit later her perception about what it means to awaken. But because it's a Sacred Sunday show, I always like to start with a meditation. And so here is Marianne providing a prayer for peace for all of us. So let's slow down. I need to slow down. I'm a little hyped up and excited. Let's drop into Marianne leading a prayer for peace. And let me make sure I share sound.
I'm so grateful that this is a place where I can actually ask that you join with me. That's what we're doing here together, because we know that the most creative place is not just in the mind, but in the heart. And that has already been said here tonight as well. And so let's all take a deep breath and close our eyes. And see in the middle of our mind a little ball of golden light. And we watch this light as it expands and covers the entire inner vision of our mind. And into this golden light we step, standing in the presence and before the power of the great creator of all things. We atone in our hearts, not only on our own behalf, but on behalf of our nations and our world, for our lack of love. And in this moment, we are ready to begin again. And we pray for a great wave of forgiveness and purification to come upon all our minds and all our hearts. As we now gaze into a different and possible future in which all are fed, all are nurtured, and all are loved. And we dedicate ourselves to that vision, to that possibility, to that reality. We pray to be used in our own ways assigned, that our hands, our feet, our steps, our actions, our thoughts, all that we have and all that we are might be used for a great rebirth. It is for this that we were born. It is for this and to this that we dedicate the rest of our lives. And so it is. Amen. Thank you so much. It was an honor to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you. So this is a little gentle song, and I'm going to sing it in Spanish because it's a global Minga Day, and as Shri and Kira alerted us to last week, and of course Minga in Peru and Ecuador means kind of helping in the community and helping in the world. And this song is called Confiando otra vez en el amor, and in English the chorus is and we all know what we've come here for, and we all feel that our hearts are true, and together we will make it home, and we'll trust to love once more. So. Deep breath. en el polvo que la creó. Vacuos sentimientos, contemplación profunda, ascenda con la madre tierra y sabemos a lo que vinimos es sincero. Nuestro corazón lograremos ir a casa juntos, confiando otra vez en el amor. La, 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 cruzo campos de temores que llaman mi atención. Yo aquí no vivo más. Me entrego al fluir, me da nuevo sentido. Lo que queda es confiar y volar y sabemos a lo que vinimos es sincero. Nuestro corazón lograremos ir a casa juntos, confiando otra vez en el amor.
Thank you so much, beautiful Omashar. And a reminder, if you haven't already, please go to Bandcamp. That's where all things Omashar might live. And it's really important for us to support Omashar, who's so generous with his time and his energy, and has made just such every weekend, such a contribution to the awakening world in our shows. And more people are asking for Omashar. Shri and Kira now want him to do the opening and closing, and Tangila's got him at the Super Conscious Music Festival. So you are
this is our,
lighting up our lives.
Connector, Scott is the connector. He is the divine conduit, and so for that, I am honored and privileged. Thank you, Scott.
No, well, you earn it. You become a really big part of all of our lives. We all love Omashar.
Thank you, beloveds.
Yeah, absolutely. Another wonderful new part of our life is Krista Collins. And Krista's been coming on and co-hosting, which I've really been appreciating. How are you doing this morning, Krista?
Oh, I'm wonderful. And it's just so fun and such a pleasure to be back here at the Awakening World and with you and Omashar and all of our friends. And couldn't be more excited than to hear from Marianne and let's see, Michael today, Reverend Michael, and everyone else on the agenda. So it's going to be fun to dive deeper into Peaceweek and be part of this beautiful, beautiful message that we want to just share with the world today.
Yeah, absolutely. And we want to hear, the weekend has been, and all this week is about Peace Week. And the theme is peace through unity. And we're going to hear what Reverend Michael has to say about that in a minute. But I definitely want to invite all of us in the chat box. What does peace mean to you? How do you live peace in your life? And what does peace through unity mean? So let's listen to Reverend Michael for a minute, actually for about 15 minutes, because once he gets going, he gets going. Let's hear what Reverend Michael has to say about it. And then Krista and I will come back. We'll share kind of our thoughts about it, and we'd love to hear from all of you as well. So this is an interview I did with Reverend Michael. I do it with him about a week ago, and it's beautiful. So enjoy. In fact, actually, you know what? I'm going to play it in a different way. I'm going to play in the advanced settings, which makes it a little bit easier. Here we go. So, Rev Michael. Here we go. Thank you so much, Michael, for being with us. And this is it. This is the culmination of 99 days of unity that then led into the 11 days of global unity and Peace Week. And this is kind of our final culmination. And would love to hear your thoughts on how do we move forward? How can we truly create peace through unity?
Well, first of all, we have to have an understanding, what those words even mean. When we come to an understanding what unity means is that we are inextricably bound to the universal presence. We're one with the presence in a very way that a wave is at one with the ocean, ocean's waves, sun beams. And this universal presence emanates as each and every one of us as distinct units of infinite potential. The issue is that people are sleepwalking in a sense of separation from the isness and the nowness and the foreverness of life itself. And in that sleepwalking state, there is a sense of scarcity, a sense of lack, which produces immature competition. It produces jealousy, envy, malice, greed. These tendencies emanate from a very limited perception that limits the dynamic of peace. Now, peace, as I describe it, is the dynamic of harmonizing good. Peace is not merely the absence of conflict or intensity or negativity. Peace is a quality all of its own. It's a quality just like love. It's a quality like beauty and joy and harmony. It's a very real quality that's intrinsic to us. But when our perception is limited, we block our own peace. And so what happens is when individuals don't understand their unity, when they fall asleep to it, they move into the world with a limited perception. And from that limited perception, they produce very limiting experiences. And so we look at the world, and the world is the condensation of previously held beliefs, points of views, opinions. So when we look at the world of discord and tumult and worry and doubt and hate and wars and rumors of wars, that's the condensation of a perception of separation. So in order to have peace, we have to come back to a sense of unity, which we get either through pain or through insight. If an individual or humanity has enough pain, then they become available to more insight, more compassion, more love, but we don't have to grow that way anymore. Now the universal teachings have been centralized all around the globe. They're not, they used to be, hundreds of years ago, it used to be centralized around in singular figures, Kuan Yin, Jesus, Buddha, Zoroaster, individuals around the world, and they had cultural implications to it. Well, today, these teachings are everywhere. And they're not centralized around an individual. They are everywhere in our society. 40 years ago, these teachings were on the peripheral. Today, they're central. Everyone knows about the law of attraction. Everyone knows that your thoughts can either make you sick or make you healthy. Everyone knows that your perception produces experience. We all know this. So now that we all know this, now we have to all practice it at some level, which is what we're doing here on this particular conversation, and everything you have brought together over the past weeks and months is to go to a deep level of practice where our attention is so focused on unity and oneness, and our attention is so focused on being avenues of peace, that we actually create a field rich for a quantum leap into an awareness of what's possible. Now, a quantum leap is going from one level of a consciousness to another without a ladder. It's a vibrational leap based on intention and based on availability. Now, going back to a previous point, there's a difference between the planet and the world. They're not synonymous. The planet is Mother Earth, Gaia, mainly water, 3/4 water, mountain ranges, rainforests, oceans, rivers, lakes. It's a living entity that's conscious. That's Mother Earth. And we're all simultaneously earthlings and spiritual beings having an earthling incarnation. But then there is the world. The world is not the earth. The world is a collection of agreements and points of view and opinions that have condensed themselves. So people can be any place on the planet, but be in different worlds based on their perception. So what we're doing here is trying to elevate people's awareness to come into a different world of view. And the real world view is abundance, is enough for everyone. The world view is love, a total cascading of the presence, totally loving without any sense of withhold. We're elevating people to a world of view of generosity, compassion, peace that emanates from the depth of our being. And when we share in that world and give from that world and generate from that world, we lose nothing, but we gain everything. And so we're inviting people to come out of the myopic point of view of scarcity, lack, limitation, separation, and come into the real world in which abundance and the beauty and life itself is totally cascading out of no thing to become the very somethingness of our existence. And so when you ask, how can we bring peace from a sense of unity? The consciousness of unity is extremely important. And today, metaphysicians and mystics have been teaching this for hundreds of years. Today we have allies in science. The mystical marriage has happened again. What was divorced in the Middle Ages, now the marriage has happened again. You have evolutionary biologists, you have quantum physicists, you have epigenetics, you have individuals that are now basically sharing scientifically what metaphysicians and mystics have been teaching for years, that we are inexplicably bound, integrated in the fundamental reality of oneness. There is no separation. It's an illusion. And so through affirmative prayer and meditation and life visioning and sacred conversation and high fellowship, we break the limited perception, embody insight, and we begin to live in the world of unity right now. And it's not an escape. It's not pretending that bad things aren't happening on the planet. It's not burying our head in the soil and pretending that there aren't issues. It's the exact opposite. When we are fueled by a sense of oneness and unity and peace, we go into the world, but we are of a higher frequency. We're actually bringing into the world love and peace and harmony and joy. We're actually bringing compassion, kindness. We're bringing it into the world so that we become vibrational clearinghouses. We actually become clearinghouses that can basically transmute the thought forms emanating from the separation, transmute them to a higher frequency, and we literally become untouched by the lower frequencies because we're vibrating too high to be touched. However, we can have an impact on the lower frequencies. So understand what I just said. The lower frequencies don't have an impact on us, but because of our higher frequencies, we have an impact on the lower frequencies, which begin to speed up and vibrate at a higher level. So we can literally change the world through having a real sense of oneness and an intention to be a vehicle of peace, not pretending that destructive things aren't happening, not pretending that hate isn't in the world, but coming to an understanding that love is more powerful than hate, that peace is more powerful than discord, that joy and beauty are more powerful than seeming ugliness. They vibrate at a higher frequency, so they're more potent, more powerful. So our role is to absolutely be committed to having that active within us, becoming less reactive in the world, but more responsive from the frequency of unity and peace. And as that happens, we really become the harbingers and the ambassadors of a world that's trying to be birthed, whether we call it the beloved community, whether we call it Shangri-La, whether we call it paradise, whether we call it heaven on earth. It's not wishful thinking. It's a vibratory frequency of unity and peace that is embodied. Now, I use the word embodied on purpose because oftentimes, over the past 30, 40 years, people have been really interested in like channeled material coming through people and channeling this great universal truths. But today, we're to embody those teachings, not just rely on some channel, but to actually do our work so well that we actually become a living embodiment of peace and of love and compassion and generosity. Because when a human being, somebody who's in the body, embodies the truth that makes us free, it is way more potent than a channeler just channeling the information and not embodying it. But as we as human beings become dedicated to embodying it, there's a quickening of that quantum state that brings heaven to earth, not in some by and by, but through us as a living being, you see. And that's what we're called to do. That's our challenge today. That's basically what we are about, to take this incarnation and infuse it with such light and luminosity that the world changes from a glory to a greater glory, to better and better and better expressions of the love and the peace and the harmony that's intrinsic to us all. Yeah.
So when we're listening to you speak, and we've had other amazing people like Jude Curvin who I just realized that's a good place to pause. He spoke about your practice there, Krista, epigenetics. And you're muted, by the way.
Yes, he did. That was great that he brought that up. And
well, that's what stands out for you, and then we'll read some comments from our friends.
yeah, I took a few notes as I listened to this, and of course I listened the other day too when you shared it with me, so I could preview and just have this kind of marinating until our show today. And I think the biggest thing for me is just that, we don't have to do this from a place of pain anymore, right? That these universal teachings are available to all of us. And for me, knowing that and being awake to that, taking the opportunity to do my part in the world. And I love also how he just created that distinction between the planet and the world. I think that was beautiful. But how can we have that deeper practice that we personally embody? Because when we do that, then that is what radiates. Then we embody that light and that actual realm and frequency of what it is to create peace through unity. And I always believe that peace begins with me, right? I think there's even a song that I grew up singing at church or something like that, that when we make that personal decision to embody that is what actually ripples out into the world for us to all come together and to be that example to each other. So those are some of the things that really stand out to me. And just to add to, him bringing up metaphysics and epigenetics, it is awesome to be able to embody some of those things that have spoken to me on a very cellular level of my DNA, understanding how our personal choices affect our genetic expression or affect the way that we show up in this world. And when we can embody that ultimate expression of who we are from a genetic standpoint, then what does that mean? What possibilities become available because of what we can bring to the world and how we can also share that with others? So those are some of my biggest takeaways that I'm seeing a lot of comments come in, and I'm just excited to dive into what everyone else thinks. And of course, Scott, because you spent that time one-to-one with Reverend Beckwith, all the things that maybe you have been able to extrapolate from that too, and to bring to our family today.
Yeah, I've been blessed. I've known Michael for almost 40 years. We go way, way back. He's been on several of my television shows. I went to Jamaica with him in 1995. And one of the things he said to me a long time ago, when I was a little bit more of an activist, and he probably, what I'm about to share, he probably said 25 years ago, and it really stuck with me. He said, don't worry about all the things going wrong in the world. The corrupt government, it'll all automatically just fall away. Our job is to build the new paradigm. Our job is to build the new world. And I can remember exactly where I was when he said that to me and how it impacted me. And really, that's when I shifted from fighting against whatever bullshit was going on politically, because there's always bullshit going on politically, to, okay, how do we create the new world? That's when I started my, I had a TV series called New Earth News. Now we do The Awakening World. And so he's really always helped me with that. Don't get pulled into the bullshit, but raise our vibration. He's going to talk more about that in a moment, a little bit more of what I recorded last week, but raising our vibrations. I just want to emphasize that piece, which is so powerful. And yes, let's read some of the comments coming in. Eleanor Joy, we'll go back and forth. I'll read a couple, you read a couple. Okay. Jeffrey Colbrook writes, for everything that there is good, become a defender. Eleanor Joy writes, in my little everyday world, I find it helpful to stop and pause and give my divine a chance to give me some guideposts, and then take appropriate, loving action. Eleanor Joy, that is so beautiful. That's so simple and profound. I'll read one more and then turn it over to Krista. Dorina writes, embodying these insights, realizations, and truths is the key to our walking our talk and living, being the love and action that we are. Key indeed. Yes, thank you, Dorina. It is about embodying it, living it. All right, turning it over to Krista.
I love what Eleanor Joy says too. An issue arose this past week, giving me a chance to practice this. And it goes back to what Reverend said, that through pain, we get this insight, right, in order to make shifts and changes. So I've also had that, and realizing that there's so many practices that I've learned that I'm not really practicing on a consistent, non-negotiable basis. So Eleanor, thank you for bringing that, because it's just this show today is so divinely placed, I think, in all of our lives to say, how can we level up for ourselves and for humanity and for peace through unity, right? And us all coming together to support each other in that. And then let's see, Shauna says, I love that Michael said that heaven on earth is not wishful thinking. It's real and possible. I believe we know that now, and what a great time to be alive, celebrating that too. Oh, and then Susan, I had commented to her as well. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. That's the song I remember singing in church as a child. She's sung that many times. And George Noble, yes, I'm a medium and still love being able to elevate singing groups I am with, bringing through Hathor energy, but it's not enough. It does cultivate joy, that and dancing are ways to do that. Yeah, beauty and expression through the body. Movement. That's beautiful. Thank you, George. Let's see. And Scotty Satori, every day reminder for sure, Scott. Yes, it is. And thank you.
I'm adding Omashar here because
here he is. Let's bring him in.
Yeah, rather than us reading what Omashar has to say, let's just hear what Omashar has to say.
Well, yes. So I feel that from my perspective, I have to get out of the way my old egoic. Not that it's a bad thing. There's a great place for the ego in this world. We need it. It's our guiding force. But as we allow the divine feminine to come in, the masculine, let's say the ego, from my perspective, keeps on coming in and trying to interfere. So my practice is to allow space for the divine feminine, the feminine soul to come in to me so that I can then be infused with divine light. So then I can help with creating the new world from that perspective, because everything that has gone before has not worked. We know that. I'm not everything, but many things. And that's where I create my music from as well. And George, I just saw, had written about Hathor energy in his singing. And I shared a stage a while ago with a guy called, a gentleman called Tom Kenyon, who brings through the Hathor energy. And it's phenomenal. It's just a beautiful, pure energy that you can bring through to, help open yourself. So that's it for this moment. Thank you. Scott?
I want to, I'm going to bring Krista and I back on. And I want to go up a little bit to what I just saw Terry Russo wrote. And we don't get into politics very much on this show, and I don't take a political stance, or I very rarely do. But I do want to acknowledge what Terry's actually working with, that, as many of you may know, there was a political stunt done by the governor of Florida, who took a bunch of refugees and put them on a bus and shipped them up to Massachusetts as some sort of a way of proving that he's not going to allow too many refugees into his state. And it's a political stunt at the expense of people. And Terry, it turns out, is working in that area. These were refugees from Venezuela arriving, and Terry writes, no one knew they were coming, but we quickly got them help. Some are still but the rest are still, on MV, Martha's Vineyard. But the rest are on Cape Cod, being housed at Otis Air Force Base, receiving food, shelter, legal, and medical care till we figure out how to deal with them. And she's a nurse, Terry's a nurse, so apparently she's actively involved in supporting these people that had this crazy thing done to them. So she's asking us to write our own political figures and ask them not to do this. And I do know that here in California, my governor, Governor Newsom, has already filed with the State Department and the Justice Department to see if it was actually kidnapping and an illegal action that took place. So I don't want to get lost in the politics of it, but I do appreciate you, Terry, for your incredible caregiving and your care about this. And yes, let us absolutely keep these people in our hearts, just as we've been raising money. And I'm really proud. Global Peace Tribe has raised over $2,000 this weekend for the Pakistani refugee, or the people in Pakistan, where there are terrible floods happening. And we did fundraising on Friday night and on Saturday, and we've raised over $2,000 from you, our Global Peace Tribe viewers. So I'm really proud of that. So thank you, Terry. God's blessings. And I'm going to turn over to Krista for any other comments that have come in while I was sharing about Terry.
Yeah, excuse me, Donna just said one too, that, unity is achieved through love and acknowledging that we are all one, and it happens through love. Hold on this planet in love. Hold all on this planet in love. And I just wanted to also acknowledge Terry's compassion and just sharing this. It really tugs on my heart when I see that people are sacrificed for different things, whether it's political or different points people are trying to make, innocent human beings, right? And of course, we're all on this journey. We've all we've all said yes to everything that allows all of us to rise together. So I think just remembering that too, that, you know, we have all played our role in all lifetimes and in this lifetime. And I think the biggest thing for us to remember is just the compassion, and that we can just have deep love and compassion for each other. And also, Scott, you talked a little bit earlier too about, you know, the fact that, you know, we don't have to, you know, bring in the political stands or anything like that here, or, you know, but we know that there's this dismantling happening. But, you know, one of my teachers always says, care, but don't carry. You know, of course we care, but do we have to, you know, carry that, you know, that burden within us? You know, there's that fine line, and just having that neutrality to seeing all that's happening in order for this consciousness to rise on this planet. And there was a time, and it wasn't probably too long ago, maybe between 2017 and 2019, I went personally, happy to share this, down the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories. And I wanted to bring that in because we were talking about, you know, like knowing what's going on in the world, but not getting roped into it or going down those rabbit holes. And for me, I just found that I was spending so much time trying to find truth that one day it just occurred to me, wow, I'm spending all my time here where I could be just here focused on raising the consciousness. And it was like, and one day I just stopped all of it and just allowed it to be. And I was really grateful that I made that decision for myself, because it was a higher embodiment of who I'm here to be. And I wanted to share that example too for anyone else that might be, you know, just experiencing that. That was something that I had to move through.
Thank you for sharing that. It is vulnerable. And
Yeah.
it is so easy for us to get engaged with right, wrong, right? Seeing them. And the solution is there is no them. There's only us. There's only we. There's only this one consciousness. And that we have to see the people in Ukraine, the people in Palestine, the people in any of these places as our own brothers and sisters.
Exactly.
And it's a constant process, because culturally we are indoctrinated to see separation. And we have certain political figures that really want to emphasize the separation. You know, they're only refugees, they're going to take your jobs, whatever that might be.
Yeah, and for people to take sides then, and that's of course just creating more separation through their own separation. And there was one comment that Scotty Satori made too that I really wanted to just highlight here. Don't fight the darkness. Don't even worry about it. Simply turn on the light.
Yeah.
And a quote that I live by is that mastery is the ability for others to see their own light in your presence. So when we're that light, you know, how does it shine for somebody else, for them to even brighten up? And I mean, it's just that concept that when, you know, you're with another being, you know, do you leave them better than when you found them? Do they feel uplifted? You know, those things. So thank you, Scotty, for sharing that. Beautiful.
We're going to actually hear in a moment, I'm going to go back to the Reverend Michael video, and he talks, I asked him about the dark forces and his thoughts on that. It's going to be interesting for you.
Good. Okay.
He says. A couple last things, and then we'll go back to Reverend Michael. Susan Woolridge was just listening to Peruvian shaman who's on with Ben Bowler right now, and they shared an invocation to the Wild One Mountain. And Susan's suggesting, let's make invocations each day, calling out within us out loud, thanking the great mystery for showering us with unity and peace. Thank you, Susan. That's beautiful. And Drina is reminding all of us, let's still, if you haven't already donated, and I'm so proud of our Global Peace Tribe that has raised $2,000 over the last 2 days, but please just go to PayPal and use the email address of PayPal@unity.earth. That's the, when you go to PayPal and asks where to send it, actually send it to where it says PayPal@unity.earth. That's the address that'll go straight to the Palestinian support. And Purpose Earth, which we're going to be focusing on Purpose Earth on October 1st. They're going to be one of our main guests, is matching dollar for dollar. So if you donate $50, you're really donating $100. So that's a very beautiful thing. All right. I'm going to go back to Reverend Michael. because he's got some more things. Now I ask him a few questions, and it's pretty cool, some of what he shares. So let's take a look. Listening to you speak. Oh, I want to make sure that I clicked sound. Yep, I did. And we've had other amazing people like Jude Curvin, who just announced her unitive narrative. When we're in meditation, when we're in prayer, we're in that state, we remember it. But when we're out in the world, when we're working, when we're at the market, when we are seeing horrible things coming through the news, what's a practice, a tool for us to embody the oneness, to embody the higher vibration?
I call some of the practices, one of the practices I've taught recently is called a transformational rant. What I mean is, recently I was traveling and I was at the airport, and the gentleman who was checking to see if you had a pre-checked ticket or not, you know, as people were passing by, he was looking at the ticket and he was saying, hey boss, you're wonderful. Hey boss, you're great. You're sweet. He did this to every single person traveling all day long. And he was full of energy. So I thought to myself that we need to develop a transformational rant in our awareness. So as we're going through our day, either out loud when it's appropriate, or inside of our own consciousness, we say, you're great, you're wonderful, you're beautiful, that we so fill our mind with saying and having this inner conversation of you're beautiful, you're wonderful, you're magnificent, hey boss, you're great, so that begins to fill our mind. And we add that to this. If we are really about our own unfoldment, we don't have a lot of time to criticize others. If we are criticizing others, which means we're not using the time to improve ourselves. So if we're using the time to really up-level our own consciousness, we don't have time to criticize or gossip about anybody else. There's no time for it. And if you can go through a transformational rant and spend your time actually doing an inquiry of your own soul as to how you can be a better version of yourself, you don't have time for anything else. You're not looking for negativity. You're not projecting negativity. You're holding a higher frequency on the planet. So those are two things that I would offer. Create some kind of transformational rant in your awareness that's constantly repetitive until it's just automatic. You see somebody, you're beautiful. You don't have to say it out loud. It may not be appropriate to say it out loud. You're beautiful. You're wonderful. All of your needs are met. You're magnificent. You see? And then the other time is used, what is it within me that's trying to emerge now? What gift am I to give today? How can I serve today? If we do that, then the mind becomes more available to the truth and less available to being hijacked by the world.
My mentor, Marshall Rosenberg, my favorite quote was, "The greatest joy in life is to contribute to the well-being of another. Always ask, how can I make life more wonderful for you?" And that was his transformational rant. I love that, right? A transformational rant. And again, the idea that, are we focusing on the negative? Are we gossiping about people we know? Or are we really making an effort to smile, to bless everyone, to be grateful and gracious with everyone we come into contact with? That is how we create peace through unity. And we raise our vibration and we help raise the vibration of those around us. How's that land for you, Kristen? What does that bring up for you? You're muted.
You know, it puts me right into my heart, Scott. And it's, I've had the beautiful honor recently, as you know, and I can share this with our family too, to spend a lot of time with my actual family that I've been born into, and just making the time to do those things and to just be in holding that vibration of love has been a really beautiful opportunity for me to practice that, especially when, you know, I find that I'm one of many, or one of not, how do I want to say this? there's not many in my family that I've been born into that I consider my spiritual tribe or my spiritual family. And so holding that vibration when you see the duality that's happening within people around you, people that you love very deeply, has been an opportunity for me to hold that. And of course, I'm not perfect. There's times that I slip and have to self-correct. And then also to have that compassion for ourselves, that we know we're on this path, that we know we're on this journey, to continue to be that light and to hold love and compassion and stay in our hearts and just to be in that beautiful vibration for others. We have to be kind to ourselves as well, as we know that we're human and we are on that journey to just be better and better every day and to be that example.
You got thumbs up from Eleanor Joy on that.
Yes.
I did this interview with Michael actually just a few days ago. It was on Wednesday I did it. And already I've noticed when I was slipping into having negative thoughts about somebody, I'm remembering what Reverend Michael said, oh, okay, is this really where I want to put my time and attention? Is this really where I want to put my focus? Because there are certain political figures that I get very upset about, especially because of the war in Ukraine, which is impacting people that I know really strongly. And it's hard not to go on a negative rant about Putin. And so that's something I'm struggling with right now, not to fall into that trap, but instead to bring back my attention. Where can I put my attention in a positive way? Where can I refocus myself? George just wrote, to an extent, it's the clutter surrounding me that distracts, impacts, and supports my being out of body or out of present moment. And I read that because I think it's true for so many of us. There is a tremendous amount of clutter. And there's, on social media, there's so much going on. We have so much information coming at us. And so to discipline ourselves, to stay focused, and to stay focused on how we can be of service to our family, to our community.
I also know, I don't remember if someone wants to pipe in on the chat. Somebody said earlier too about getting in nature brings you back to peace. So I think there's tools, again, that when we feel those things or we're seeing everything coming at us from these different angles, whether it's the news or Facebook or social media, whatever, just going back to being on planet Earth, right? And just basking in her glory and the beauty of all the peace and nature that's around us, right?
All right, well, there's a little more from Reverend Michael, so we're going to go there. And I did see Jeffrey wrote, we need to stop giving up our power to leaders of war. I know, right? Reverend Michael for president. All right, here we go.
That's right. And see, the key word, the key thing at this time in human history is practicing that, because the teachings are everywhere. You have all manner of people now jumping up, putting up websites and teaching these principles. Many of them are novices, many of them are just started, but it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, because they're teaching themselves as they're learning. But now it's everywhere. When I started teaching 40 years ago, people thought I was weird, you know what I mean? And exotic. And then that which was peripheral has now become central. So now it's all, people have caught up to the teachings. But now that we know this stuff, and it's again been proven by the allies of science and evolutionary biologists and quantum physicists, now it's time to practice, and to have a practice every single day so that the embodiment takes place, so that we can actually be in the world fully, but be of the emerging paradigm that needs us to express itself on earth. It's not just going to come out of the sky and happen. It's going to happen through us, but there must be a vibrational match, which is why we meditate, which is why we affirmatively pray, which is why we vision, so that there's a match vibrationally within us, so that heaven comes to earth through us, not to us, but through us, and then ultimately as us.
I mean, I want to stop it right there because that's so powerful. Heaven on earth comes through us, not to us. And again, a big thing that Reverend Michael has taught me is prayer. There's different forms of prayer, obviously, and often there's prayer that he calls beseeching. Oh, God, help me. And that's okay. But there's also the level of prayer that is what he just talked about. Heaven on earth comes through us, where we raise our vibration, where we open ourselves to become receptive and to allow higher energies to flow through us. My mantra, which I've been doing for 20 years, is I am a clear channel for spirit to flow through. When my ego is running amok, and it does, slow down, I'm a clear channel for spirit to flow through. When I'm working with clients and I get to a point where I don't know what to do, what to say, I close my eyes and I wait for spirit to flow through me. And so that is such an important practice, is for us to really allow spirit to flow through us. That we're not waiting for the angels to come, but we become the angels.
Beautiful. And it expresses then as us, is how he's ended that too. So, I mean, there's just so, to me, there's just so much peace in that, that we don't have to do anything. We just get to be that embodiment of it and allow it, right? And like you said, when you're in that client session and don't know what to say anymore, you know, it's not about going out and doing, it's just being that conduit and being that beautiful presence. So there's a lot coming in through the chat.
Okay, go ahead and share a few. And I'll go back to you, Mashar, so you can see your thing directly. But Krista, what do you see? Okay, we'll go to Mashar, and then Krista will read what she sees. Okay, Mashar.
It's interesting. Michael Beckwith is just so on point, and he just pings all these places. And me, so much is brought up because, you know, the truth is we already are complete and whole. And when I get out of the way and focus on my heart, the divine light I feel shines from within me out, and I'm just affirming that it's starting to affect my cells and starting to remove me from the matrix, so to speak. And I have a mantra which is daily. I have it on my door as I leave every day, and it's basically no criticism, condemnation, judgment, blame, gossip of yourself or any other. And if you do, just be aware, be patient, love yourself, because the old momentum that we've had for thousands of years is going to take a little while to clear from our minds. But as we do it collectively, you know, my unified field will connect with yours, Scott, and Krista's, and everybody on this call, and we're just building a new field. And yeah, that's kind of it, I think, for this moment.
Thank you. God bless you. Thank you for that commitment, because that is a really, and I love that you have that on your door before you go out into the world.
Yeah, it's Post-it notes everywhere, man.
That's beautiful, Mashar. Thank you. All right, I'm going to turn over to Krista. Let's hear what she's going to share.
Yeah, I just want to comment on that too, Omashar, the daily reminders and the daily practice. You know, for me, what comes up is, and what can we do to support each other in this? This is not just about one of us, but how when we all choose these non-negotiables about how we show up every single day, how that really makes a shift. And whether it's just doing your daily meditation, or whether it's you know, speaking love, or just reminding yourself not to speak criticism, whatever spiritual practices, whatever, you know, even body, the movement of the body, or we've been talking a little bit about being out in nature, and Susan even said barefoot. Yes, I mean, just what are you doing? Are you grounding? Are you earthing every day? Those are the things that when we personally make that choice, I know that we can rise up for ourselves and therefore influence others, because they're seeing us have those non-negotiables and the things that fill our cup for us to stay in our own peace. And then of course, radiate that out to the world. So, and George is even saying too, yes, Krista, for those uninitiated, she suggests the rites of passion, vision quest, the lost borders vision, questing, you know, as deep introductions to nature, animals and totems, the shamanism. And then I also know that, you know, Eleanor Joy said she just got a lot of inspiration through a mini tarot reading yesterday, and just that reset of maybe just what to do and what was said, that became very clear for her through that reading of what needs to change, or what kind of tools she can utilize. So just know that what's so important is that, with this realm of heaven coming through us, right? Comes to earth through us and as us, that we don't have to do it alone, and that we get to do it together in this unity consciousness. And that's why I think, Scott, this show today is just so beautiful, because we are showing how we can all come together to support this topic.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Mhm.
And I love our community. I love our tribe. And thank you for everybody who's commenting. Also, I do want to acknowledge a lot of people that watch this show, watch the replay, watch the recording. So if you are part of the 35 or 40% of the people that watch the show on replay, we love you too. Well, thank you. We love you too. You can always put comments into the chat box on YouTube, because I do often get those. All right, let's go back to a little more Reverend Michael. We've got a little bit more left here.
Yeah.
Are you optimistic that
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm optimistic, because an optimist is not someone who believes that there are no issues. An optimist is just someone who knows that there's a solution to every issue. So every issue that we're facing, there's already a solution to it. There's no water shortage. We're 3/4 water. So the technology already exists to convert water into drinkable water. It already exists. There's already technology to take the soils that we have rendered inert through the misuse of a crop rotation. There's already technology to transform the earth. That literally to transform the earth to make it available for growing again. There's already technology to have 0 point free energy. There's already technology on the planet right now for healings and modalities of health that aren't yet available to the public. So there's already solutions to the issues that we're facing. So now that we're becoming incarnate beings, we're the ones who are breaking the old paradigm to setting these solutions free that heretofore have been held hostage for profit. You see, the old paradigm is holding many solutions at bay so it can continue to control and garner profit from the belief of scarcity or lack, which doesn't exist in a multidimensional universe. So as an optimist, I see solutions, even though I don't deny that there are issues.
Beautiful. Thank you. Isn't that wonderful? And did you see how quickly I hadn't even finished my sentence about being optimistic? I said, yes. I mean, it was like right on it, right? But then a beautiful definition that it's not about rose-colored glasses, but it's like find the solutions. What are the solutions?
Yeah. And there are only solutions. I mean, that's typically, the way that I think we all want to show up, but then, to remember, like, we don't have to get stuck in, adversity, and just remember that there are only solutions. And I've seen a few people recently spell solution, SOUL, like a
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I've not seen that before. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, I'd love to see, does anyone else have any thoughts on that?
Well, Jeffrey Colebrook, of course, because he's always reminding us about what's happening with Nassim Haramein and the science of free energy. It's here. Gravity control is here. Absolutely. Linen Leaf, as we ask for maximum grace, I love that term, maximum grace to change our old ways, maximum grace for us all. Absolutely.
Love evolution is the solution. I love that too.
Shauna writes, it seems we're all in a process of initiation for birthing this new earth. Yes. She continues, I remind myself that we'll get through this. I will get through this and believe we'll be our true, beautiful expression of our soul. All right, I'm going to go back. There's a little more Reverend Michael that I want to share with everybody. That definition. Last question. Some say that heaven on earth is already here and we just need to become in that same vibrational frequency like you were talking about. Others say that there has to be a mass collective, enough individuals need to embody the vibrational frequency before that happens. is it which of those, or is it both? How do you
It's both. It's not an either or. Right now, heaven is here. Right now, infinite potential, infinite possibilities surrounds us right now. There's an eternal broadcasting throughout all creation saying, let there be life, let there be light, let there be beauty. That's happening now. And at the same time, every time someone breaks through from the limiting paradigm and has a breakthrough, has an insight, they're adding to the field of receptivity that quickens the day in which all flesh shall see it together. So it's both and. It's here and now, and many people are already living in it, and the people that are already living in it are adding a kind of a momentum so that other people can see it more quickly. In other words, the veil is thin, you see. And as anyone rises up, there's a quantum statement that's attributed to Jesus the Christ, Yeshua ben Joseph, when he said, supposedly, as I am lifted up, I draw all unto me. That's a quantum statement. As I go into a higher frequency, I bring everyone up. So as each and every one of us move up, we don't, it's really no up or down in an infinite. It's really, as we expand our awareness, we can use the word up and down as a linguistic convenience. We draw others into that frequency. So it's both. It's here now, and more people will see it as more people are being it.
I've got to ask this last one. So we'll get back to that last one in a moment. So again, raising the vibration and really expanding our awareness, which is what we're doing on the Awakening World, what we do on these conversations, and uplifting each other. Krista, any comments you want to read, or anything that comes up from you
I
that you want to share?
Because one of the things that came up for me that I'm happy to share, and to see if this resonates with anyone here too, when he was talking about the up and down, I was realizing that on my journey, there's been a lot of peaks and valleys over the last, I really started a very strong path on my spiritual journey in 2012. So it's been a little over 10 years that I've really been into the self-healing and just doing all the things to rise into my own consciousness of the highest expression of myself. And there have been times where, I'm really high and then I'm really low. And maybe I could stay in a depression for weeks on end and not want to bother my friends because I didn't want to bring them down with me. And what's happened probably since about 2019, I started to realize more about unity consciousness, how we are coming together. And I was starting to get connected to different tribes like Global Peace Tribe, where I realized that because we do rise together, we don't have to go at it alone, and we don't have to have those peaks and valleys. And right now, the way I look at it is I kind of have a couple waves from time to time, right? And in that, there's no more peaks and valleys in my life. Like they just don't even exist because I've chosen that higher realm. And I've also chosen to, when I need something, to reach out to someone like you, Scott, or somebody who can support me and realize that I'm not bringing them down. That was my own belief that my ego was creating. So moving through those belief systems as well, that we are here to hold each other up and to not have to go at this alone. And that is the realm of heaven on earth. That is unity consciousness. That is peace through unity consciousness.
Oh my God, that was as beautiful as anything that Michael said. Really, thank you. It touches my heart. And, for anyone who's watching that is going through depression, is going through a hard time, a wonderful two things to remember. One is you can always just ask, hey, do you have the space to give me some support? You can always ask. And again, remember what I said earlier, Marshall Rosenberg's quote, the greatest joy in life is to be of service to another. And most of us have learned that. But it's tragic that people who haven't learned that, right? Those of us that have learned how good it feels to be of service, that's a blessing to know that. And the people who don't know that are still stuck in trying to get their joy from the outside world. Now, if you reach out to someone who hasn't learned that, but the joy of being of service, then you might get a unpleasant response. So pick the people like here, the people you see on the little Peace Tribe, the Omshars, the Kristas, the Scots, who are going to, oh my God, thank you for reaching out. When somebody reaches out and wants support, when that happens, I always feel honored. The first thing I say is thank you. Thank you for the courage to reach out, because it takes courage when you're depressed or when you're struggling. It takes a lot of courage to reach out for support. And even, I just recently had an experience this week where someone who's been a guest on my show, and I love her, reached out for support. And she reached out for financial support for something happening right away, like happening this weekend, and was hoping that I could do a whole Awakening World show on it. And I just couldn't. The weekend was already full. I'd already committed that the money we're going to raise this weekend was for Pakistan. We already had a full agenda. And I had to say, no, I can't provide the support that you're asking for. And it was really hard. And I spent a good half hour on the phone with her, and I referred her to someone else who might be able to help her. And it was a tough one, because I knew that she's a little bit desperate and she really needed support, and I love her and I care about her. And I noticed my immediate first reaction is, don't do this, Scott. You can't take this on. It's too much. And then when I got home, she called me while I was driving. When I got home, I tuned in again and again. I got, no, I can't provide what she wants. So I'm sharing this story spontaneously with everybody, hopefully as a process that it's always okay to ask. And it's also okay for us to tune in and say, I thank you for asking. And I can't do it right now. I'm already too full. And so this is part of our journey in life, but to have compassion and appreciate, and then see maybe where we can redirect the attention, redirect the energy.
Scott, what a pivotal story, and that's it's so hard, because of course we want to help everyone, but we also have to say yes to ourselves and know that boundary of, what is taking on too much. And maybe there was somebody that could support her in a different way, everything.
And that was my hope. That was
Mm-hmm.
my hope. Absolutely.
Yeah. One thing that's coming up for me too in this conversation is I'm just thinking about sometimes when I've needed help, but I haven't been willing to receive. And I think this is another topic about unity that we can just touch on here, is that we are so programmed in this society to give.
Mm-hmm.
And receiving has been a challenge for me at times, because I don't want to feel like I owe somebody something, or if they do this for me, I have to do this for them. And so to remember and learn and know these universal truths, that there is nothing ever missing. There is always the give, the receive, the yin, the yang, that equal balance. And that the programming that we were born into, that was here before all of us, was that you have to give. So for us also to hold that vibration and frequency of unity consciousness, that it is just as worthy to receive and to be held and to be supported through times where you need to receive and you need support in order to step into a higher light.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up. Again, another client I worked with yesterday, and he's really struggling with receiving because he's very involved in climate change, and he's very worried about what's going on, and it's not getting better, it's getting worse, and he feels like he has to work harder and harder. And most of us have that. We were raised with the Judeo-Christian ethic of it's greater to give than to receive, or even, martyring yourself. Growing up, I've always, as an adult, had the fantasy of what if we grew up in a church that instead of worshiping a guy who was crucified, tortured and crucified and died for our sins, what if we grew up in a church where we saw, instead of Jesus hanging on a cross with blood dripping down, we grew up in a church where we saw Jesus in sacred union with Mary Magdalene, right? And they're in divine union. And that's what we're celebrating. And that's what we're aspiring towards. We're not aspiring towards martyring ourselves, but we're aspiring towards divine union, whether it's with another human being or whether it's with the divine feminine, the divine masculine within us coming together. And so, yes, it all comes back to, how we were indoctrinated, and we have to change that. And self-love is not selfish.
Right.
The more we can fill ourself, the more that we have to give to others, because we want to give to others.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Laura, I noticed that Jay Mayer is in the house, and I just want to acknowledge Jay, who I'm not going to ask him to speak, but I'll put him on camera for a moment. There he is, Jay Mayer, who has been very supportive of the Global Peace Tribe. And thank you, Jay, for all of your support. And thank you for Light Touch. I don't know, Krista's new, but I'll have to share with you all about Light Touch. It's something that Jay has brought into the world, and it's about touching ourselves or others very gently and doing affirmations. And it's a very, very
wow.
practice.
Beautiful practice. I'd love to learn about that, Jay. Pleasure to meet you.
All right, I've got one more question for Reverend Michael. And my God, we're already 11:15. We haven't gotten to the Twin Ray. We haven't gotten to Sharif. We haven't gotten to Andrew Harvey. So we might go a little bit longer. Can you go till 12 noon today? Yeah.
I certainly can. And if anyone can't, I guess they can catch the replay, right?
Okay, great.
Okay.
Here's my last question for Reverend Michael about the dark forces. As we and the people watching this program are lifting up, do you believe that there are dark forces trying to bring us back down? Some people believe that, some people don't. What is your thought about that?
There is what you call ignorance that has hijacked individuals' minds, individuals with bodies, individuals without bodies. And in that ignorance and operating from a sense of separation, they have a tendency to try to block the light, you see. But they are less powerful than the light itself. So it's egoic. And whenever you rise, then the egoic dimension individually and collectively tries to suppress. The ego in us does not know the difference between enlightenment and annihilation. And so it's afraid of enlightenment because it thinks it's going to be annihilated. And it is in that dynamic, you see. And so we don't spend a lot of time worrying about the seeming dark forces or the Luciferian energies. Those are just downward spiraling energy, which simply means that the light is coming into density. We don't spend a lot of time worrying about that. We spend most of our time raising our frequency because it's way more powerful than the energy that's seeking to delay that.
Beautiful. Thank you for that. Reverend Michael, I so appreciate your time. And the rest is just Michael and I schmoozing back and forth. Isn't that I love what it says about the ego. And it's true. The ego, it's like, I have that when people talk about, I just want to go back into the light. I don't want to go back into the light. I want to travel to Greece. I want to do more shows. There's things I want to do. How's that all land for you, Krista?
Yeah, I want to play, right? That's the thing. It's, heaven on earth, when we talk about that. And of course, that's something that I've been thinking so much about as I also develop an event around this whole topic this November. It's that, let's play in this energy. This isn't about things being hard. This is about things being easy. And when we spend more than 50% of our day filling our own cup, doing the things that bring us joy, then of course, like you said, we can be of greatest service. And then let's go play in that energy and be the joy and do all those beautiful things that we're here on this planet to do. as, sensorial beings that are here to have this human experience and to see and to touch and feel and, swim in that ocean and do all those things. So I couldn't agree with you more. And to me, that lights me up the most. Like, let's find the joy. Let's do the things that light us up and make us happy, because that's what spreads like wildfire, is that joy.
Absolutely. And I see a lot of people are agreeing with that. Shauna, George, Omashar, it's true. It's like, we've done a lot of near-death experience shows, Krista, kind of before you kind of came into Global Peace Tribe. In fact, we should do one again soon. And when people are out there, there is that release from the body that feels really good, the release from the pain of the body. But then they always say, oh my God, being in the body is such a gift. There's nothing like eating a peach, right? There's, in fact, kind of going there, many of the spiritual teachers and many of the people that, communicate with our deceased loved ones. The body, the five senses are so unique here on planet Earth. Yes, we're spiritual beings, but we're in these animal bodies and we have the senses. And that's why food, sex is so amazing. And it's also interesting, the spiritual teachers say, yeah, food and sex are incredible on planet Earth more than any other place because of the senses of the body. But it's also interesting to notice that food and sex are where many human beings have the greatest challenges of too much food or too much sex or not enough food or not enough sex, and how food and sex is a very a dynamic, uniquely challenging and wonderful here on this planet. There's another show that we should do sometime, right?
That'd be awesome. Yeah, I'd love to dive into that one.
All right. Well, also, I just want to acknowledge I had seen some of the comments that came in earlier, just about how to say no. I actually want to go back because there are a couple of really good comments. Terry Russo, who's a nurse, writes, "It's hard to ask for help when we feel we have to help others only, and to be tough, to suck it up." She also writes, "Agreed, the crucifixion is a gruesome, iconic event in the visual in Christianity that pushes many of us away, mentally scarred for life. Yes, wouldn't it be great if far better areas of love to focus on?" And I'm glad you like my visual of, I mean, first of all, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, isn't it ridiculous and tragic that the church turned his divine consort into a prostitute? Whoa. I mean, talk about a horrific, tragic choice that has impacted and influenced God knows how many people in an incorrect manner. That is also a whole other show. And we have done shows here on about Mary Magdalene. Well, we have like all these other teachers, and I realize now we're not going to get to everybody. But I think what I would like to do is very briefly, Marianne Williamson shared a little bit when I was first deciding to do, to kind of transfer my shows to the idea of the awakening world. She shared very briefly about what the Course of Miracles has to say about what we would call the awakening world. So I'm going to go to that clip, and it's a very short clip, but it's very, very beautiful. So let's go there.
A Course in Miracles tells us that the world is a dream, and in our dream state, we have fallen into a nightmare. A lot of us think, well, if only we could awaken. But the Course in Miracles says you can't go from the nightmare to awakening. You have to go from the bad dream to the happy dream. The happy dream is the awakening world. We're in the process of awakening. The bad dream becomes a happy dream. A planet that is infused with so many warlike situations, people killing each other, atrocities, becomes a world in which war is merely a memory. A planet in which there is so much unnecessary suffering becomes a world in which there is no unnecessary suffering. A world in which 12,000 children die every day of starvation becomes a world in which all are fed, in which all have enough because we have used so wisely and compassionately the resources of this planet. A world in which laughter and love and song and forgiveness and dancing and merriment is the dominant human experience. Once we get there, once we're a happy dream, then we will awaken and we'll be beyond form altogether.
That's what we're doing, right? We are changing the dream from the dream of the war and the poverty into this awakened world. And it is so important for us. That's why we come together. We lift ourselves up. And it's human nature to be in a depression. It's human nature to be discouraged. So that's why we lift each other up. And hopefully here on the Awakening World, we're providing hope and inspiration to lift us all up. What comes up for you, Krista, when you hear Marianne?
Yeah, she's just been such a great teacher to me over the years, and having read A Return to Love, it's just so fun to be able to comment on her. And I just believe that everything that she shares is just so true, and that she was years ahead of her, what do they say, years ahead of her time, having read Course in Miracles so early on in her life, and just making such leaps and bounds in her life to influence others in such a positive way toward unity, and taking that stand and being a woman. I just really respect and admire everything that she's stood for, and all that she teaches for us to be in unity and to find peace through that unity.
Well, I can't believe how quickly the 90 minutes has gone by, but I do want to show some twin ray.
Let's do it.
As we talk about heaven on earth, I've had a blessed life. I've known people like Michael and Marianne for a very long time. I've interviewed all these wonderful authors, but I gotta say, Shekinah Ma and Sananda Ji are as high, they are living in heaven on earth reality. They are, and I've stayed in their home for a week. I've hung out with them. I text and talk to them almost every day. And they are truly living at such a high level of consciousness. So this is a clip from just, I had them on the show. We did a special event with them 2 weeks ago yesterday. So this is very recent, talking about heaven on earth. So let's hear what the twin ray have to say.
So heaven, as the topic of today's satsang, is living heaven on earth. So what is heaven? Heaven is your home. Heaven is your true nature. If we look at the etymologic origins of heaven, we can see that it means either sky or heave, to heave up, to lift up, to ascend, be brought higher.
It also is etymologically related to Havel, or the wheels of destiny, the wheels of life. Also, the chakras are also known as the Havels. And what does that signify? It signifies that everything in life has its cycle. Every moment in life is cyclical. And those wheels of destiny and how they are lived through decide the destiny of the being.
And you integrate that concept of seven heavens, those seven filaments, or the seven rings, or even the seven planets, and how they interconnect to the seven chakras of the body, or the churches, the seven churches, as it was spoken in the book of Revelations. And so these wheels, or these vortexes of life, is your perception. And one of the pathways is to ascend your perception to absolute truth, to see that unwavering truth, the truth of yourself. And so the spiritual journey itself can be seen in answering three main questions. Who or what is God? what is all of this? What is the universe, the multiverse, all of creation? What is the meaning of this? What is this? And who are you? Who is self? Who are you really? What are you? And when you go deep enough and you excavate and you start looking into that, you realize that the same answer, it's not so much an answer that you can give through the mind, it's an answer that can happen through your direct realization. And that direct realization answers those three questions.
But one answer applies to all three questions.
Yeah, and what's the promise here? The promise is total fulfillment, is total utter fulfillment in your life. A happiness that doesn't leave you, a love that isn't taken away from you from moment to moment. The love that you are shines brightly into all your experience of life.
And that's because love, true love, cannot be taken from you. It cannot be added to you, and it cannot be taken from you. It is the essence of you, and there is nothing that can ever change that. Not what you've done, not what has been done to you, nothing ever can taint that love, ever.
Because it's your true nature.
Ever.
And so really there's only really one message here and one outcome. It's, what are you? It's that love. What is heaven? It's that love. But that love can be understood from different perspectives. It can be understood from the physical level as what you love doing, what you love experiencing, what brings goodness into your life, what you interact with. It can be at the emotional level, at the relationship level, where there's that feeling of love to someone or something, or to yourself even. Love at the mental level could be having a deeper understanding and loving unconditionally with no judgment, just holding absolute compassion for yourself and all beings. And love at the spiritual level is that unconditional, undivided principle, that true nature. That is your being, that is the truth of this reality. And so returning to that love is really the game of life. Remembering yourself as love. And so how does one do this? Who already knows all this? Because everything we're sharing, it's not new. This is the knowledge of your own being. This is nothing that we can offer besides maybe articulate it in a new way. But there's generally, and what we teach is 4 different paths that are really the same path to the same essence of truth, of self, and of love. And one path of that is that devotion, that absolute devotion to devotion itself. It doesn't have to be a devotion to someone or something. It can, but it's not limited to that. It's devotion to devotion, because devotion creates a dissolution of the selfish tendencies of one's own narrative or one's conditioning. As we say, unconditional love unconditions the mind. So the more that you experience that, you're absorbed into the truth of your being, of that love, it unconditions the causal conditioning of family narratives, societal narratives, these different narratives that have created a picture of a perception that may be incomplete. So devotion opens up the heart and allows the mind to come into the heart so you can have a greater respect for yourself and for others. And so again, it's that devotion which is the path of divine love in its expression. There's the path of divine service, where when one is in service to others selflessly, and you can make your life an offering, even if you have to do any tasks physically, you can make them an offering to something greater, an offering to your family. It can be an offering to spirits, it can be an offering to the earth. But when you make your life an offering, what happens is that the selfish tendencies of what do I get from life change into what can I give? What can I give to others? And there's this beautiful biofeedback loop that just fills you up. There's this beautiful positive experience that happens.
The universe wants to support that.
Yes, because...
And so it does.
Yeah, because we're all in that one continual expression of the true reality being unity. And so when you are unifying with that field, with that spirit, with that presence, with that truth, and you're demonstrating that with your actions, with your words, there's a fulfillment that comes back. And so that level of service, that divine service, no matter how small, no matter how grand, it's all supporting the whole. And one of the greatest service that can be done is to self-excavate.
The inner excavation process.
To look deeply under the hood. To go deep into the conditioning, go deep into the perceptual separation of fear.
We call it light diving.
Yes, instead of shadow walking, you can call it light diving.
We call it light diving.
Diving into the shadows to bring the light.
Light diving, and I loved that.
What else stands out for you, my friend?
Yeah, I watched them, that recently. I think it was 2 Saturdays ago. So it was just so great to hear it again. But, I think that everything that they share regarding heaven on earth is just so, so profound, and that we already are the love, and that the same intelligence and love that has created this universe is the same love and intelligence that's within each of us. So there is no separation. So that's why they're saying it can never be taken from you. It already is you. It's that tricky little ego that comes in that makes us think that we're separate from it. And that awareness and consciousness around knowing that it is already us and it's our choice is really, really the gift. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, Scott.
Yeah, it's interesting hearing all these different spiritual teachers saying the same thing, that it's attuning to what already is, and leaving the illusion of separation. I like to work with those words, the illusion of separation, with a lot of compassion, because it's a very powerful movie that we're in the middle of, right? It's a very intense and very strong illusion that, oh my God, I'm just this body. This body is so fragile. This body, anything could happen to this body and I could die. I could, there's like such a sense of separation that we fall into when we come into the human experience. And remembering that we are one with everyone, remembering that those people in Pakistan, those people that have dark skin, those people that look different than I do, those people that have a different sexual orientation than I do, that they're all part of me, that we're all together, that awakening is so contrary to the culture we grow up in and the illusion of separation that we're in. And so we are grateful for people like Reverend Michael and the Twin Ray, who are living in that higher state of oneness and who help us to remember and then provide tools for how to wake up and come out of the illusion of separation.
Yeah. And Omashar, I'd love for you to come in and share it as well. I love that you're saying, we're lucky. It's we're not just this body.
That's an interesting one, because it's is it subjective or objectionable? I don't know, but we're not this body at all. We are the last receivers of all that comes. It doesn't even come down, as Reverend Michael was saying. It expands out from within, and the deeper and deeper I go into my practice, which is daily. I do my practice pretty much 24/7. It gets pretty exhausting. Occasionally I have to have a cheat day, but that doesn't often come. But I just notice that all of my energy comes from my inside, and there's another world within me which I have ignored for all these years, even though I've been searching for it all these years, and it was always right here in my heart. And so I realize I am not just this body. However, I am a steward of this body, and it deserves my highest care and my greatest devotion and my greatest love, because without that, I cannot play and I cannot share as we are here. So, you know, and I'm also getting to understand that, as you were saying just earlier, Krista, in a different way, that we are a microcosm of the macrocosm. And if we don't balance out this heavy illusion that's happening now with our inner world, then we're kind of lost, not forever, you know, until someone else like Scott or Krista or Michael or the twin ray comes and reminds us, hey, come on, it's all right. We're all flying and we're rising together. So that's my $1 million insert in this moment.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And just feeling all your words and just your presence here is just such a beautiful part of this family as well, Mashar. So appreciated all that you bring to hold everyone.
Thank you. It's so humbling. And I know that all of us on this call and who are watching, we all have something that we could share in this way, in this format too. So I hope I and you and Scott and all the others are speaking for all of us. And well, I know we are. So, yeah.
Beautiful.
You are.
Thank you, Terry.
Somebody jumped in there. That's great.
That was
great.
Terry.
Terry.
In her hammock.
I gotta bring Terry on. There she
is. Yeah, she's in a hammock.
Terry.
Come on. She's swinging in a hammock. This is row, row, row your boat. An example right there.
I'm sorry. My hammock is my refuge on my day off, provided the sun is out and it's not raining or snowing.
Sorry, it's beautiful to see you enjoying that, because I can get that feeling too.
You know,
Thank you.
all four of us that you see on camera right now, you know, something else we all have in common. We're all going to be together in Sedona, Arizona. We're all going to be together and we're going to meet each other. And I haven't met any of you in person before.
Wow.
So we're going to get to hug. And again, this is a good segue to just remind everybody, come to the retreat. It's going to be amazing. And I know it's a project to take that time off, but Terry's coming all the way from the East Coast. She found a way to take the time off work and to come. We're going to get at least one big house and all share together.
Cool.
And the new excitement is Danyan Brinkley is going to join us. Beloved brother Danyan committed. He's going to fly in from Texas, and he's going to be with us in person. And for anybody who doesn't know Danyan Brinkley, he's a hoot. He's, of course, the fellow who has died multiple times. They made a movie about his life. He wrote the best-selling book, and he is a really, really cool and fun guy who's going to be with us in person. So find a way, everybody. I'll put the link into the chat box. Find a way to get to Sedona, which is an incredibly magical place where Mashar will be playing music, and Krista and her partner Nicole will be presenting, and Terry Russo will be hugging us all. And there's going to be a lot of really wonderful stuff going on in Sedona. So,
I hear Terry's going to bring a few free hammocks for us to hang up. So
If I could find a way, I would.
I bet we could find some in Sedona.
Absolutely. Well, you know, this might be a good moment. I'm not going to completely close the show up, but I would love to go to some Mashar music right now. And then we do kind of some closing announcements. Mashar?
Yes, I'm on it. I'm torn because I have "Let There Be Peace on Earth" in my mind, and maybe as we're leaving the show, we can all sing that a cappella. When I was music director at Unity in Hawaii, Unity Church, we sung that a lot, but we changed the lyrics somewhat also. It was "Now there is peace on earth, and love is creator, and we're walking with our family." You know, taking all of the gender specific and the God references out of there, not because they're wrong, but because they're open to misinterpretation. So I'm going to play the true ones, and because it came to me, and I just trust that it's the right song. air we breathe. And as we fly again, I love the sacred sky. Now we are whole again. I love the way we've changed. Again, I love the love we are. We are rising, there's no disguising the truth of who we are. With our hearts connected again, now we are the stars. And as we walk again, we know the sacred earth. And as we see again, to ourselves we give birth. As we feel again, our boundaries dissolve, and free to love again, right from the heart of one. We are rising, there's no disguising truth of who we are. With our hearts connected again, now we are the stars. And now that we are home, and all is said and done, light can find its way through all the true ones, and broken hearts resolve into the song of life. The song of life will now be heard by all. We are rising, there's no disguising the truth of who we are. With our hearts connected again, now we are the stars. Now we are the stars.
All hail Omashar.
Yeah, that's the song from us all to us all, because we are rising.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Very
Thank you.
beautiful.
Well, I'm going to close out with some announcements and then a final thought from Krista. But since we were just talking about the retreat in Daniel Brinkley, I pulled this up during Omashar's song. There's, of course, our beautiful, beloved brother Daniel. And I love this quote: "The quickest way to change the world is to be of service to others. Show that your love can make a difference in the lives of people, and thereby someone else's love can make a difference in your life. By each of us doing that and working together, we change the world one inner person at a time. And that's from Danyan. And a little bit of a background on that. When Danyan was struck by lightning and died, and when that happened, he went through a very long and difficult recovery process. But he came out of it with powers, which often happens when people die. They often come back with powers. And Danyan has the ability to help bring people into heaven, to experience heaven. And some of you have heard me tell this story before. Danyan is very dedicated to hospice work, and he has personally supported over 30,000 people that he has personally met with when they are in the hospice stage of life. Hospice, for anybody who doesn't know, is the last chapter of our life. When it's reached a point where someone is terminal, they go into hospice care. And it's anywhere from the last 2 weeks to the last 2 months of their life. And Dan goes and visits those people. And I brought a film camera crew when I was working on, I was a producer on a show called The Paranormal Borderline. I can't remember if it was Paranormal Borderline or Strange Universe that we had Danyan. We had him on both those shows. And actually, I think it was Strange Universe where the story I'm about to tell happened. Anyway, there I am with my camera crew, and we're at the VA hospital in Long Beach with Danyan. We're in the ward of people that are dying. And there was a young man there who was dying, and he was scared to death to die because he didn't believe that there was anything after life. He just thought that you die and it's just black and dark and you're annihilated. And Danyan said, "May I show you?" And he very gently hugs this guy. And they go into this hug that lasted forever. And I remember we had to change the film camera crew, it's like, anyway, finally the hug ends and this guy's got tears flowing down his face. "Oh my God, there's a heaven. There's a heaven. Danyan showed me heaven. He took me to heaven." And Danyan has that gift. He has that ability to take people and show them, I like to call it the astral plane. So he's very, very special, great big heart. And so that's Danyan, who will be with us in Sedona. And I just wanted to share that with everybody because I love Danyan. He's a beautiful brother, and I'm really excited he's going to be coming. All right, I'm going to bring Krista back on to share whatever kind of closing thoughts that are alive and up for you, Krista.
Wow, I can't wait to meet Danyan, that's for sure. And just wanting to invite everyone to join us in Sedona. It's going to be just a really beautiful way for us to even come together in more unity, right? Supporting peace and, us creating our own heaven on earth just within our tribe is so beautiful. And that's how we come together, and then we take it back to our own communities, our own tribes, our own people that are in our worlds, our families every single day. So, Scott, I just love that I was welcome to come in and co-host on such a pivotal day to speak about this topic, to be with all of you. My heart is just expanding every cell, just being with all of you. And I hope that all of you feel that as well. I think we're all sending that out and all receiving equally today. And Omashar, if there's nothing more for me to say today, it's just how you just really anchored that in with that song. Wow, that was absolutely beautiful. So I'm just sending everyone the deepest love for a beautiful Sunday, and just to go play in this energy today. Let's just celebrate, Sunday being that day of rest and play, to be just in the joy and the happiness of heaven on earth as it is us, through us, right?
And of course, Peaceweek is happening now, and all of the plenaries and everything. And so sunshine and dipping in and out of Peaceweek.
Yeah.
Right?
So, a few things, because I always love to do promotions. And in a moment, we're going to go to the 11/11 retreat that Krista is going to be involved in. But I was just reminded that, Omashar, you're involved with the End of Seeking conference.
Yes, it's pure presence conferences, and they put out, they grew out of the Course in Miracles. And they twice a year they put on this phenomenal. It's all free, and it actually ends this evening. And I have played 3 concerts. 2 actually, one yesterday, one the day before, mini concerts, and one tonight at the closing ceremony, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And so jump in there if you want. I'm just kind of, gives us a chance to see what else is happening in the world simultaneously. There's so many of us who are devoted to our upliftment and our awakening. And this is another really integrous group. And so thank you for sharing that, Scott.
And how do people, they can actually use the link that you sent, and that's how they
just use a link, and you just register, and you'll still get the afternoon's free talks if you want, or you can just register and they'll give you the Zoom in, and then you can just see me playing a few songs. I haven't decided what it is to play yet. It's usually the collective of the group that I'm playing to that dictates the songs that need to be sung. And someone needs to hear something at a certain time, and so Spirit guides me to that.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Krista, I want to remind people that just move to Sedona.
That's what I'm doing this fall.
Because we've got, of course, our retreat October 21st to the 25th, and we're going to do some things after that. Then it's the Illuminate Film Festival the next weekend, which I'm going to be helping to host, and we're going to do a whole Awakening World thing on that. And then it is your retreat. Krista, tell us all about what's going to be happening at your retreat. I'm going to pull up that website while you talk about it.
Yes. Okay. So we are presenting the 1111 Gates of Heaven. This was a beautiful download that both my partner and I, Nicole Keating, I know she's been here on the show. Some of you have met her. She and I are in co-creation, just 51 days away. There she is, creating a community of heaven on earth where we are coming together, where we are bringing in together all the healers and guides and spiritual seekers and supporting one another in this beautiful consciousness and knowing that we don't have to do it alone. So really over the 1111 gateway this year, anchoring that in, because like this website says, we are in this huge time of change on this planet. And if you visit the website, Gates of Heaven 1111, you'll see all these bullets of things that you'll receive as well. We actually have a beautiful healer that's going to be working with us each and every day. Her name is Laura Quirk. She's also featured on Soul Search, and a dear friend of mine and Nicole's, where she's going to be providing miraculous quantum healings every single day based on the theme of the day, because we're going to be doing kind of like a 3-day build. The first day is really about just, where are we at, and just healing the things that we think may be broken within us, but really are not. And allowing people just to come together. And day 2, really talking about conscious collaboration, whether it's sacred union, co-creating in work or business, and much more, the relationship with self. And then day 3 really being about manifesting in this incredible energy of the 1111 gateway this year. And then finally, having a beautiful New Earth Cosmic Ball. We talked a little bit about this today, but giving everyone the opportunity to play in this energy and coming dressed up as your galactic or divine goddess, God self that you are. And then, of course, we have all weekend to play in Sedona. So like Scott said, you just may as well move to Sedona for the fall. I certainly will be there. I'm looking for just people to play with in this energy. And of course, for Scott and this beautiful community, we do have a coupon code for a discount off of the early bird price. The code is Awakening. So you're also welcome to reach out to me or Nicole if you have any questions, and you can contact us right through the website.
And you've got an amazing faculty of people that
oh my gosh, yes.
Look at all the wonderful people that are going to be teaching. Of course, we love Raquel. Larissa Stowe, she's one of the most popular musical artists from Saturday Night Live and now The Awakening World. I just was talking to her yesterday about this, actually. We're talking about the 1111 event that you're doing. And she's going to be there. Aurora, who we've seen on the show, all these people you've seen on the show now.
Laura, absolutely.
And I'm looking to see if I can work out my schedule to stay even longer to also be there as well. So
yeah, we'd love to have you, Scott. And if you scroll down, I think there's just a few other light leaders that you can
Oh
see
yeah,
talking
my
on the
God,
show.
there's more.
All three, yeah.
Melissa and Lisa and India.
Yeah, they've all been here on the Awakening World. So yeah, just a beautiful, beautiful array of speakers bringing their light and love to this entire movement and community that we're creating.
Beautiful. Well,
thank you.
Sedona is the place to be this fall for sure. A couple of very last announcements. We are starting to take reservations now for registration, I should say, for the new season, October 1 through December 31. I announced it last night, and there's a glitch happening between WePay, which takes credit cards, and my Constant Contact. So I'll get that glitch resolved tomorrow once human beings are back available. And we'll send out an email letting everybody know, and definitely register. And for the people that register this week, I'm going to offer a free Saturday morning with me, live Zoom meeting, and that'll be on Saturday, September 24th. And speaking of Saturday, September 24th, next week's Saturday night show, Awakening World Show, is going to start 2 hours earlier than usual because we're doing a very special collaboration with the end of Peaceweek, the end of 99 Days of Unity, collaborating with Teresa Collins and Ben Bowler and all that gang. So we're going to do one big show together next Saturday. It'll be at 4 o'clock Pacific time instead of 6 o'clock Pacific time. So that's going to be next Saturday. Please, everybody, mark your calendars. We will also mention this in our emails that go out. And in terms of next week, I do want to just let people know about what we do have lined up. On Friday night, you're going to get a chance to meet two wonderful peacemakers. It's, kind of wrapping up Peace Week by next week. Temple Hayes, who is one of the most popular Unitarian Church of Unity ministers. She has a global outreach. She's right up there with Reverend Michael in terms of internationally celebrated. She'll be with us live, so you'll be able to interact with her directly. And Luc Reynaud, who just got back from Ukraine, where he led a goodness tour, where they were providing music and support to the people of Ukraine. Beautiful man, beautiful woman, beautiful beings. They're both going to be with me as my guests live with us on Friday night. And then on Sunday, as I said, we're doing this big special event that's going to be, on Saturday night is the big special event with Ben, celebrating, that's it, the end of 99 days of unity, and hopefully the start of a whole new level of heaven on earth. That's on Saturday at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. And then finally, on my Sacred Sunday show next week, Tangela will be back co-hosting with me with our friends Renee and Anthony. And remember, you've seen them before on the show. They channel Yeshua, also known as Jesus, and Mary Magdalene. And they did a brief channeling and people wanted more. So we're dedicating an entire Sunday. So come in, hear what Yeshua, Jesus, Mary Magdalene have to say right now in contemporary time. What better way to complete Peace Week and start a whole new level by connecting directly to these very high vibrations, these high energies. And of course, Omashar will be with us at all times if we're lucky. I'm sure you're going to be with us next weekend.
Yeah, more than likely. I always say in theory, because life is life. However, it is my joy, my absolute joy. This fills me up as much as it fills everybody. And I'm so grateful, Scott. Thank you.
Well, we love you so much, and we are grateful for you as well, my friend. And with that, I love your idea of singing Krista's song from church, giving it your new words. Can we do that?
We can. Just give me a moment, 1 second. And did you?
Yep, there it is. And so in the chat box, everybody, and for those of you watching on Facebook, this is why you want to be able to come on into the Zoom room. But what I'll do is I'm going to make a picture of that, and I'll put it in a place where I can screen share it.
And it's the slightly new words.
Can't hear you. We can't hear you. No, we can't.
I'm going to sing it a cappella because I haven't learned the chords for it.
Really? No, Michelle? That's true. So, are we ready, everybody?
Hold on one second. Let me,
Yes.
give me 1 second. I want to make this nice and easy. Okay. There we go. We'll do it that way. All right. Let me know. Does this show up? Hang on. If I do it, I'm just getting this ready so that. No, that's not going to work. I'm trying to get your words so that everybody can see it.
Look in the chat box.
Does that? How does that work? Does that work?
Yes. Maybe a little bit bigger, but we can see it.
How's that? No, that's. I didn't have time to make a JPEG out of it.
That's all right. Scroll it as we sing it, Scott. Then we know you're joining in. Haha.
Okay.
Are we ready?
Yes, we are.
Here we go. Clear your voices. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With love as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every breath I take, let this be our solemn vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
All right, I'm going to go to gallery view for a moment. Turn on your cameras, everybody.
Yeah, that was funny.
I know you're in your pajamas. It's okay.
No, come on. No pajamas. We love pajamas, especially if they have fun things on them. I started that song a bit high. Sorry about that. It was out of my range.
I sang along. I was on mute. It was great, though. Thank you.
And hey, Katrina is with us. Katrina's birthday weekend.
Happy birthday
and Katrina's
weekend.
going to be in Sedona. So those of us who are in Sedona for the retreat will get a chance to see my dear friend, Katrina Valancourt. Let's all wish her a happy birthday.
Happy
It is her
birthday.
Happy birthday, Katrina.
Beautiful. All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you for another beautiful Sacred Sunday. Thank you, Omashar Krista. I love co-hosting with you. Thank you so much.
It was such a pleasure, Scott. I just love being with you and everyone here. So fun.
All right. Take care, everybody, and lots of love. We'll see you next weekend.